Okay, now we're working into the vestibular system. So simply think of you started laying the groundwork for this with a lot of the work that you've done so far. Their core is getting more stable. They're able to go against gravity while laying down. They're able to do side planks. They're able to do extensions. They're able to do all those types of things, right? And simply think of it as an infant starting to develop. They're laying on their belly. They're lifting their head. They're rolling. Then they start crawling. Then they go up against gravity. When they go against gravity, it's a whole different world. There's so much more gravitational force. Their vestibular system really has to start activating to get them stability on 2 feet instead of 4, which makes it a lot more challenging, right? So whenever I'm starting to work on a vestibular system, I'm thinking of, let's give them the biggest base of support. Let's get them in a position where maybe they have more stability, and then work our way into less stability. So if a kid has a really poor balance, maybe I have them start doing exercises on their knees, because now they're just activating their hips. They're not working on their feet. Maybe I have them seated for some different activities as well. Or maybe when I'm having them stand, I'm having them stand with a really wide base of support, and then we're working on getting that base of support closer and closer and closer together. And then eventually we're getting them to where they have one foot in front of the other one, or even just on one foot. So like all these exercises, think of it simply as, like, for example, I might have a kid on a BOSU ball while they have a laser on their head and they're moving that laser through a chart, right? But I always start with, maybe they're on a foam pad first with their feet really wide if they can't do the BOSU ball. Maybe they're on the BOSU ball, but their feet are really wide. And then as they get better at it, I move them closer and closer and closer together, or I start putting them one foot in front of the other one. Or maybe when they're doing the neurosage, I might have them stand with both feet on the vibe plate wide and get closer and closer, then put one foot in front of the other one, then turn their whole body and do one foot in front of the other one. So you can make it more and more challenging, or even sometimes the kids will put a BOSU ball on top of the vibe plate to make that balance aspect even more challenging as they get more developed. So these things, these activities can always get harder and harder and harder as their vestibular system gets better and better and better, because we really want to challenge that vestibular system in a way that they can handle it, but we want to make sure we're challenging it. And when you start doing that, and we start using lasers at the same time for their midline cerebellum and their vestibular system, that's when this system really starts to integrate. And you can just watch it change over time as those activities get harder and harder, they get better and better at it. That's the vestibular system improving really, really nicely. So I'm going to break down a whole bunch of different activities here that you guys can do for the vestibular system. But remember, don't work on this system much at all until their core is stable, their range of motion is normalized. When you make sure those two things are there, this vestibular system and their primitive reflex are gone, this vestibular system will integrate really fast. Like, sometimes I don't even have to do activities for this, and their vestibular system improves just by getting rid of their primitive reflexes. Or sometimes I'll send them home with, say, hey, I want you to work on some vestibular exercises for the next 6 weeks. Come back, I'm going to recheck you. And a lot of times it's improved dramatically after we've got rid of their primitive reflexes. And then in the next video, I'm going to start talking about integrating the eyes with their vestibular system. So we're working on vestibular stuff right now, but when it comes to the eyes, I want to chat about that real quickly here. I always try to integrate them while the child's balancing. It's very, very rare that a child's using their eyes independently, just sitting here, just moving their eyes. They're always moving their head with their eyes, or maybe they're balancing, they're standing upright and they're moving their head and their eyes. That means their vestibular system is always being activated with that. So I want to make sure that, remember that when we get into the eye stuff, having to do eye tracking stuff while they're doing vestibular-based things is really important and helps integrate stuff a lot faster. But I'm going to break down a bunch of different vestibular exercises that we do. But again, there's always more room for improvement. There's always different exercises you guys can do. Just find whatever improves the system the most. So whatever changes their Mann's test the most, so you have them standing one foot in front of the other one or standing 1 foot balanced. Maybe the first time you did it, they went 3 seconds. Then you got rid of their primitive reflexes. Now they can do it for 10 seconds. Well, now what changes that? If we do one side of vestibular stimulation, like to the left, based off of their exam, because remember we looked at the canals. Is their left posterior canal weak? Is their left horizontal canal? Are their postural reflexes weak? Then we're going to start addressing those first, right? So we're going to do that brain-based stimulation. Whatever one activity improves that Man's test the most is the one you want to go for first. Traditionally, we need to get them to have postural reflexes before we start working a lot on vestibular stimulation. So make sure you're checking their postural reflexes first. I should have said that first, but first make sure their postural reflexes are present. If they are not present, those need to be worked on first. So when they're not developed, one of the easiest ways to work on them is actually pretty simple. So if they go this way and their head stays level, they go this way, their head doesn't stay level, I will simply take their head from behind. I'll keep it level the whole time. I'll fixate their eyes and I'll do a quick move, translation, back slow. Quick translation, back slow. Quick translation, back slow. And then I'll say, every time you're, depending on the age, obviously, but every time your child goes to the bathroom and sits down, I want to put a dot on the wall and have them do 10 of these. Or every time they get in a car, have them do 10 of these. Or if you can't link it to anything, I try to link exercises to stuff so that way they remember to do it always, right? But if not, I'll say, I need you to have them look at a dot and do 10 translations to the left, just like this. Keep their eyes focused on something the whole time, or forward translations, or backward translations, or whatever it may be. Or maybe I'll send home postural reflex exercises, which I'll attach for you guys. But that's the first and foremost. A Nalanda board is one of my favorite ways to work on postural reflexes. Same with a slack line. Love those. Don't have room in my office for a slack line anymore, which I used to, which was awesome. But a Nalanda board, which is has a cylinder, there's a board on top of it, and they have to try to balance it out. That's a great way to work on postural reflexes. Sliding back and forth. If you've ever seen those sliding boards where they have, this one's a little bit hard with kids. This is why I don't use it, but I used to use it for an adults, is the hockey sliding boards, where they kick off and slide to the left, kick off, slide to the right. That's a great way to work on postural reflexes, lateral translations. I don't have one of them anymore just because it's hard for kids because they'll kick off, they'll make it halfway and they shuffle, kick off, make it halfway and shuffle. So it's not quite as effective for kids. Unless you have a really small one and a more coordinated kid, because a lot of times they fall. That besides the point. Then we're going to go into just vestibular-based stuff, horizontal canal stuff. So remember to take their exam and go, when they turn their head, there's a lot more restriction with their head to the left. Their eyes going to the right was more challenging. So we're going to do a lot more activities with, maybe we're having them balance, but we're having them turn their head to the left and keeping their eyes stable. Head to the left, keeping their eyes stable, or back in their left, eyes stable. By doing that, so you'll do those activities, laser their cerebellum at the same time if you have a laser, and then you'll recheck their balance. Does it improve? And this is really the cool part, is when you start activating the weak system and the correct and really getting specific with it, it'll improve really fast. And it's really great to be able to show the parent, hey, yeah, when they started this session, they could only go 10 seconds. Now they went 25 seconds. They went 20 seconds. So you do 20 head movements and they go a minute. It just shows the importance of integrating that one specific aspect, that one specific canal, that one specific, otolith system or whatever it may be. So really isolating and get real specific based off your exam. So always go back to your exam. What was weak? Do more of it. Cool? Awesome. Thanks for taking the time to check out this video. To learn more or to schedule an intensive or anything with my team, there's a link below. Just go ahead and click that and that'll get you to the right spot. Have an awesome day.